Yeah,
this feels like what Mark Webb wanted to do, but couldn't do.
Yeah. We gotta make this cool. He's got a skateboard to Coldplay, though.
I want to deal with Spider-Man's angst and his depression and feeling like an outsider, having struggles with who am I really. Can you throw Rhino in there? Flipping continues today. Spider-Man Lotus full trailer. Gonna do a reaction to this. This is something I've heard about for several months. A lot of people have been telling me about this little fan-made project. I don't even want to say little. It's pretty ambitious to my understanding. Last night, heavy spoilers, Paul was like, dude, you gotta check out this trailer. And I said, shut up, you British twit. And, and then that's how I talked to him.
He appreciated that.
Yeah, I hope you're watching, Paul. No, he's always on the lookout for good things to cover. Sure enough, all of my Instagram and Twitter, so many message requests just kept coming in about this specific trailer. I've literally heard nothing but good things about it. I know some stuff. We're not that well informed on everything, obviously. This will be the first trailer we're actually gonna watch for it, any actual video footage. So here it goes. It's from the channel J Konop. Link in the description box and pinned comment.
Come lay me down. Come heal me now. Come take this crown and leave me on.
Don't think of this as a goodbye tape.
Aw.
Think of it more as a checking in tape.
What's going on?
So here I am,
There's something wrong.
just checking in to say hi.
Moving on so long that it happened all before.
And then I miss you.
God, that's just so heartbreaking.
Yeah. Very Peter-centric.
Whoever he thinks I am, I'm not. You've seen the headlines. Figure it out.
That little boy in there has looked up to you his entire life.
Epic.
You are his hero. So please, give him something to believe in.
Wow, this is so personal.
Yeah.
We all lost something. But I think we gained something too.
I will always be Spider-Man. Not because I want to, but because I have to. I love you, Gwen Stacy.
That was so moving. That was so moving.
Not bad.
Yeah, you gotta have your gobby. Gotta have your gobby in there.
Absolutely. A whole lot of character drama for Peter Parker.
This takes place a little bit after Gwen's death, obviously, because I'm so analytical. I'm so observant. And only the few can pick up on such great detail as me. This takes place a little bit after Gwen's death, and I believe that boy is like diagnosed with cancer.
Something terminal.
Something terminal. I love the tone poem quality to it. It's a tale of grief, being able to find your sense of self-worth again. It feels more Spider-Man than some of what we've gotten in recent years of the MCU.
I've never, I think, ever heard anyone say that about a fan film based off a major franchise, especially not in the past handful of years.
Yeah, so we're not getting like the fun quippiness or him dealing with what it's like to be in high school and balance that and have the financial struggles. Is that demonstrated in this trailer? No, there's a lot of things about Spider-Man that are, but this feels very focused, pivotal for this man's journey here, and it feels appropriate to have this fan-made film. Like, do I believe Andrew Garfield is going to be in Spider-Man No Way Home? I firmly believe that. However, you know, like when you look at the events of Amazing Spider-Man 2, the death of Gwen Stacy in comics is a very monumental moment. It was a major trajectory for Peter Parker. I love how this is dealing with an identity crisis situation for him, you know? Like that was at the time the love of his life, who he lost. And so I imagine that Green Goblin moment, as much as there's a tease there, I feel like this movie might be bookended with that, like the start, maybe a flashback that shows the death of Gwen Stacy involving Green Goblin, and then perhaps at the end too, when coming to confrontation with Green Goblin. But I like how Peter Parker focused it is with him essentially is going through the darkest time of grief, unable to accept this. It's almost as if he's like dealing with this imposter syndrome. It's pretty much what we saw in the last 5 minutes of Amazing Spider-Man 2, but really focused, taking its time, allowing you to deal with the depression that comes with it and the angst. I like the idea of like focusing on a personal relationship with this boy who looks up to him, but he doesn't view himself in the way how some of the public, like this little boy I see in this kid who's dying, is like Make-A-Wish Foundation type of deal, is just want to meet my hero, but he doesn't feel like he is that hero. It is an interesting dichotomy, hero complex, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, it's that nice, I think it makes for a nice complement to have the story of him grieving over Gwen Stacy pitted kind of against this backdrop of him trying to inspire this child who he can't dump all the realities of life onto. I believe these are storylines that do, I mean, obviously with Gwen Stacy, but the story with the little boy is also like a comic book and cartoon, you know, storyline. It's called The Kid Who Collected Spider-Man, or Collects Spider-Man. I actually saw the animated series episode as a kid, all right? Because when I saw what this is about, I was like, oh, wow, interesting. That was not the pull I had expected. I haven't read the comic, but yeah. And so having those go together, that idea that he is in such a grief state and then has to take on this, almost in that state, it can feel like a burden to have to inspire somebody and to have to play to the best of yourself and your image and all that stuff for the sake of someone else.
Believe me, I know.
Absolutely. If anybody can relate to this trailer, I am the little boy. You are Peter Parker. That's right, man. I'm so sorry about Olivia. Is seeing Peter grieve over, you know, a death of some kind is something, you know, we've seen in the movies, but this kind of touching quality that it seems to exude. I mean, I feel like there is a hazardous element where you could maybe go too much into being, you know, dramatic and melancholy, but if they hit the mark, I think that could be really touching. You'll have to keep the bigger, more, you know, CG enhanced action elements in the fringes for something like this, and to have such sort of an emotionally resonant story of a personal stripe on one side with Gwen and his grief over Gwen, and then this unrelated story by the comics, but that also seems like it's perfectly in tune in terms of a sentimental standpoint, I think is really clever.
Yeah, it's got that cool like indie drama vibe.
Yeah,
it feels like what Mark Webb wanted to do, but couldn't do.
Yeah. We gotta make this cool. He's got a skateboard to Coldplay, though.
I want to deal with Spider-Man's angst and his depression and feeling like an outsider and having struggles with who am I really. Can you throw Rhino in there?
Can we make him James Dean while we're at it? This is the thing, is like these fan-made films and shorts and trailers and all that stuff are inspiring for that very fact, is like because the comics get so broad with like, like, oh, we can do this approach and that approach, and anything's possible. I feel like the fan-made films are where you feel that spirit more reliably.
Yeah, I think it's also shot really well. I love like the close framing on everything. It feels so intimate. I love like the gritty shots at the very top of it. This feels painful. I feel like I'm watching, who directed Blue Valentine? Derek Cianfrance? With Derek
Cianfrance?
I think so. He's directing The Wolfman. That's gonna be a really uplifting film.
Yeah.
I do think there's something with the whole like recording. That's a thing people do as part of their grief. Like recording your feelings on tape is a thing that people do in real life. But I think there is a comic where he does that.
Oh.
Yep.
Even-
Can't pull the comic at all in my brain, but I believe there is a comic where he does.
Spider-Man tapes.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
If I had to have a concern to address, is that sometimes with films that are this much of a mood piece, it can feel like what you were talking about with the concern is that it beats you over the head with it, that you become kind of numb to the pain. There's a lack of gray here where
the point at which the melancholy can become too much and
Yeah.
start to become melodramatic rather than touching.
Yeah, because in order to feel the melodrama, you have to have a little bit more of that nuanced life, and maybe that'll come in the form of the interaction with the little boy, where he webs out the cancer.
Right. Pulls the tumors directly out. That would be. I've never seen that in a superhero movie, so I would be dazzled.
Yeah, man, Spider-Man. Maybe if it is the Mark Webb one, he has the magic blood.
Yeah, definitely.
Or he can just inject the boy.
He's
Now
got the
oh no,
special
I got a
DNA.
hobgoblin on my
Only
hands
you
now.
could be him. Your DNA is in the spider.
No, this is amazing. I mean, the fact that this is fan-made and it feels this personal and the amount of support rallying around this is in it of itself a massive accomplishment. So J Konop, you should feel overwhelmed with gratitude. Now let's just hope your movie turns out actually good. Because right now you got a lot of support and I feel like you're going to do an excellent job. All right, guys. Well, please, if you haven't seen this trailer in full screen, and if you happen to be, most of the time, if you're here for a reaction, you have already seen the original video. But if we are one of the few who are introducing you to this trailer, please go subscribe to the actual channel. There's a link in the pinned comment and the description box. And give the actual trailer a view because they 100% deserve it. And they need the support as much as possible. They're doing things that I wish I could do, but unfortunately, John's holding me back in life.
I am.
From my own
I'm
self-motivation.
the Ed to your Sean, buddy.
I don't get the reference.
Play video games with me in the shed. Shaun of the Dead.
What does Shaun of the Dead have to do with this?
You know, it's a reference that fit the thing.
We've been filming for 18 minutes. We'll see you guys soon.